welcome back to another episode of I Am I. My name is Joshua Ansley, this lifetime around, or Aurora on a bigger scale. Right? So today I'm going to talk about spiritual bypass. This is a surgery that I never recommend. It doesn't wind up working out. So this happens everywhere. It happens in yoga, definitely. It happens in 12-step programs. It happens in energy work. It happens everywhere. It's really just a natural part of the process too. But we just want to be aware of it and be careful of it. So it's going to happen naturally because what brings us into these places is usually fear, doubt, stress, anxiety, all these what we consider terrible things, right? So what happens is then the process of spirituality, the process of our journey of yoga or whatever practice that we're doing becomes an escape, right? And I just want to say that, you know, stress and fear, and we had talked about fear last week, these are some of the greatest signposts on your journey. And they are the most noble warriors, because they get no fucking credit. They get all the shit, they get disrespected and spit on, and everybody's like, wants nothing to do with stress and fear and anxiety and all that shit. And these are the things that take you into the greatest spaces in your life. So when you really integrate all of it, when there is no spiritual bypass, on a deeper levels I'll get into it, but when there is no spiritual bypass, then we incorporate all of it and integrate all of it, and we can even see these negative, dark things as really powerful parts of our journey, right? So we have gratitude and love for even those dark spaces. And that is a fundamental aspect that we need to avoid in spiritual bypass. It's because we don't want to be avoiding the deep, dark places within ourselves. A lot of times it comes to, I just want to be okay, I just want to be good, I want to be, you know, please help me, right? And like, it's understandable. But the thing is to not be avoiding the deeper, darker issues. So in emotional distress or trauma or anything that need to be released like that, these are just, they have to be faced. If you want happiness and joy and freedom in your life, it's about taking that trip down into the depths, into the darkness, and looking at all of it, not running from any of it, right? So when we talk about, I want to talk a little bit about Jungian archetypes just for a moment to help understand it a little bit. So we have the archetype of the self, of ourselves, right? There's the one personal, you are the only one exactly like you. We talk about in the Eastern philosophy and the Vedantic philosophy all about the self and the nature of this beautiful self at your core, and I'm talking about that all the time, that you are God at the very core and of who you are is that divine nature, and that's absolutely true. But in my opinion, it's not to deny all the layers that are surrounding it, all the bodies and all the personality and all that stuff that is surrounding it, because we are here in this present physical world, right? In a Peruvian shamanic tradition in the Andes, they say that you come from the sun that does not rise and the sun that does not set. So that's where we come from, that space of nothingness and everything. But we are still here in this world of duality and polarity. So we can't run from this world. That is spiritual bypass, when you're just climbing up and trying to get high and out of this world, then you're just trying to escape. That is not a fully integrated, beautiful life, in my opinion, right? So we want to be really careful of that. So that archetype of the self is that, not just that divine aspect in the core of the self, but all of who we are. There is no one in this entire world exactly like you. There is not one single fucking person. There's 8 billion of us on this planet, and every one of us is goddamn fucking snowflakes. And not that way that the fucking new people fucked up saying that. I mean snowflakes in that beautiful sense, right? Where it used to be, where we're all special and absolutely beautiful in who we are. Nobody has the gifts. Nobody has the talents. Nobody can love like you love. Nobody can give like you give. Nobody can be a fucking bitch like you can be a fucking bitch. Right? Nobody has all that shit. So what happens is we need to embrace that full aspect, that full archetype of self. And then there's the archetype of the community, the archetype of the collective unconscious, right? So we come together as a society, and this is the thing that tells us how to behave. Oh, that's a good girl, that's a good boy, this is how you should behave, and this is how blah, 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 and all that stuff, right? And that's all great. It is very powerful. This is now where we get into like the conditioning, right? The conditioning of society and family and friends and all this stuff that conditions us of how we should behave. And that's fine, because we do not have to understand how to exist in society, right? Because we are coming together and we are working together as a unit. But the problem with that is that tells us what is good, what is bad, you know, like, oh, this is unacceptable and acceptable, right? So what happens is all the things that are unacceptable but are completely natural parts of ourselves, they get pushed down into the archetype of the shadow. And they get pushed into the darkness and in the crevices and in the corners. And these are beautiful, absolutely essential, sacred parts of who we are. And we need to reclaim them on this journey. So the journey is about digging into all the shit, right? It is not about running away from any of it. Now, this is going to be a difficult, long process. It's not going to happen overnight. We all want a quick fix. That's the way the mind works, right? The mind goes towards its likes, avoids its dislikes, goes towards comfort, avoids discomfort. Then we're living in the mind 99.99% of the time, and the ego and the personality, which is great. That's all part of who we are. But we're neglecting and forgetting this divine core of who we are, and we're forgetting all this other darkness that we're rejecting and saying, no, I can't look at, I can't look at that, I can't look at the dark desires that I have, the fucked up thoughts that I have. You're not the only one. We all think we're this isolated being and no one else fucking thinks this way. You're sitting on your yoga mat thinking you're so fucked up and that person is so perfect next to you. Bullshit. That person is so fucked up, and the people that look less fucked up are really ones that are faking it more, right? So we have to not be able to, we want to not be running away from that darkness, that deepness, that space inside of us that we can't shun, because we don't know which parts of it really need to be integrated and really need to be pulled in, that are vital essence, energies of who we are. And if we're pushing that away into the darkness, then we're imprisoning a large portion of who we are. If we want that freedom, we need to learn to love and respect ourselves on all levels. We need to learn to love and respect all these perceived flaws, because we perceive them as flaws and society has conditioned us to perceive them as flaws, but we don't know which ones are flaws and which ones are not. And it's not even the black and white thinking is what kills it, because really there might be something that at a particular time is necessary. It's knowing when and how to use these particular skills, right? Or have these energies in play, right? So these primal sacred spaces within ourselves, that fucking deep darkness, it's like, you know, being a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets, you know? Because it doesn't mean that we have to bring it out and be as fucking overt and ridiculous as I am out in public and being like, oh, I love sucking tranny dick. You don't have to do that, right? You can do this just understanding that when you take it into your private life, that you keep that alive there. So when you go out into society, we respect and understand and honor that society functions this fucked up, weird, twisted way. And in some ways it does because it needs to. And we learn to decipher which ones we need to use and which ones we need to still keep within inside of ourselves, within that container. Because even the idea of getting it all out and expressing it all out in public and all this shit is not containing it. If we can actually let it live within us, let the fire fucking burn within us and keep that container and let it shine through our fucking eyes and through our subtle movements, right? So it's not depleting ourselves and letting it all out. It's holding it all in there. And it's allowing that mystery to be in there. So when somebody goes, wow, look at just the way that person walks, the way that person talks, there's something enigmatic to them. They know themselves. And then when you know and love and respect yourself on all these fucked up, deep, dismal, primal, organic levels, then you can truly love and respect other people, and that's where we find freedom in this life. But it is a process, my friend. It is a motherfucking process, a long, arduous, difficult process to dig down into the deep, dirty, dark shadow parts of ourselves and bring some light into it. And it's not to bring the light to shine the light and let go of the darkness. It's to bring it together. It's to integrate, right? It's both of those. So it's not that black and white. So being careful in spiritual bypass, because we could also, when we watch other people that we might think that they're really fucked up, if we're working some sort of program, some sort of spiritual program, and we see some other people, they seem really disheveled and a mess, they might actually be working a much deeper, stronger program. They might be really digging down into the fucking dark depths of who they are and not just trying to be perfect and not doing spiritual bypass. All right, I love you guys. In Lakesha Lakin, I am you, you are me. Namaste. What? Too much?